Welcome into the Sporting News Studios. Tom Vandervoort alongside NASCAR writer Bob Pockrass and NASCAR Illustrated Stephen Levine, looking back at Daytona and looking back specifically at the incident on Saturday where we had some fans injured after a wreck on the last lap of the nationwide race. Bob, Stephen, you guys were both there, but before I get your take on it, let's play something, Bob, you were able to get, which is the 911 call from a fan at the incident. Here's what that sounded like.
911, where's your emergency?
Yeah, listen, I'm in Section 0, Section O, Daytona Racetrack. There's two seriously injured people here, okay? We've been calling for paramedics and nobody showed up.
Okay,
there's been a crash. These people are really serious. Sprint Tower, Section 0, Row 30.
Okay.
We need help. Big time, quick.
Okay, they're on their way, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye.
So there you go. It was obviously a pretty striking incident at the time. What do you think of the response so far, Bob?
Well, I mean, as I've been telling people, you know, you don't know whether you saw a horrific situation or a miracle, right? I mean, as of Tuesday morning, 7 fans still hospitalized, all in stable condition. It could have been a lot worse.
No fatalities,
no fatalities. And, you know, obviously the response to that fan was not as quick as maybe that fan would have liked, but it was, you're talking about 2-3 sections, you're talking about several sections of grandstands, some, you know, 30 rows up, kind of a chaotic situation there at the start. But from everything I've heard, you know, that most people were pleased with the response. And I talked to a gentleman whose 15-year-old brother caught something in the face, and he said there were so many other people worse off than his son or than his brother that he just got him cleaned up and took him to the hospital himself for stitches and didn't even want to, you know, he said there were just too many other people who needed more attention.
And so people like that, those numbers aren't even counted in the official total coming.
Well, Stephen, you talked to some fans on Sunday, I think, after the incident when people had a chance to kind of digest it, and what did you find out?
Well, I specifically went out into the infield fan zone at Daytona asking people, look, did this make you hesitant about coming here today for the 500? And there was not a single fan I talked to, and I probably talked to about 15 people, who were hesitant. Most of them, if not all of them, said this was a fluke, you assume this risk, it says it on the back of your ticket, it's no different than getting hit by a foul ball at a baseball game or a hockey puck at a hockey game. One couple I talked to said, look, our seats are right in that same area, and we love our seats come renewal time in June. We're getting the same seats we've always had.
I think it is different than a foul ball or a hockey puck, because it doesn't send 14. Usually those don't send 14 people to a hospital.
I agree. But these fans' perspective, they basically said this was a fluke. We don't expect it to happen on an ongoing basis.
Is NASCAR treating this like a fluke? There are certain,
well, I mean,
for example, the wheels are tethered to the car. They're not supposed to, but they did.
Well, I mean, the suspension pieces broke off, and so the wheel may still have been tethered to something, but when
with something
exactly. So, you know, I mean, NASCAR says they're going to look into it. You know, now how much of a public report they give, we don't know. We may just see changes made, and you know, never hear exactly what that report says. There's no. The Daytona Speedway, from what I read in the Daytona newspaper, has an exception because it has over 70,000 seats, that it's private property and it gets to investigate these things on its own. There's no governmental authority that's going to do investigation. From all indications are no employees were hurt, so OSHA would not come in and investigate. So this is going to be something where we're going to have to rely on NASCAR and the track to do the investigation and to make the changes. I'd guess that we won't learn a whole lot about what.
They'll just make whatever.
They'll make the changes, and and they may say a few things, but I think they'll play things kind of pretty close to the vest.
Yeah, more likely to be probably tweaks than some kind of major overhaul.
Yes, and there's still some debate of whether the tire actually went over or through the fence.
Obviously, if it went through, that's something to look at.
And well, I mean, the thing is that if it went through, that actually neither way is good. But if it goes through, then it tells you, well, our fences are the right height, and we need to concentrate on the fencing. If it went over, then then the question is, how quickly can you raise the fencing at other racetracks.
I did talk to one fan who said the fact that the engine stopped right there at the fence and that other major components of the car stopped right there at the fence was actually evidence that the fence did its job,
Right.
and the tire that made it into the stands was the exception that proved the rule.
And don't forget that the car did hit the area that's called the crossover area of the fence, where that fence actually comes out so that fans and officials can get to the track, before and after the race. So, so I'm sure they'll be looking at, the angle that it hit, the poles that it hit as part of that kind of gated area, and see if that had any impact into the what everybody's been calling just pretty much an explosion and debris raining down on them.
There you go. All right. That's Bob Pockrass, Stephen Levine on the far end. I'm Tom Vandervoort. Thanks so much for watching.